What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the UFC 310 co-main event and my favorite fight on this card, Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Garry. Someone zeros, gotta go. And I think this fight is a much better alternative to the fight we were supposed to get, which was Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. This fight is way more interesting in my opinion, and I do believe that Garry is probably the toughest fight for Shavkat in the division right now. And I do believe that Ian is probably the toughest fight for Shavkat in the division because he has different tools that could definitely beat Shavkat. I mean, Ian, we all know what Ian's about. He's a lengthy kickboxer, and if he stays on the outside, he's going to be able to pick Shavkat apart, and that'll probably be his game plan in this fight. Also, now, since they trained together, Ian went over to shootbox in Brazil with Charles Oliveira and the boys over there, and he's improved his grappling and his jiu-jitsu. It's not something I would advise him to use in this fight because at the end of the day, Shavkat, he's an absolute beast in the clinch and in a lot of grappling exchanges. Ian's definitely still going to want to be on the feet, but if it goes to the ground, he's going to be a little bit more prepared than he probably was when they trained together. But don't have it wrong. I mean, Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's the boogeyman of the welterweight division for a reason. 18 wins, 18 finishes. The guy's an absolute stud, and there's a reason why a lot of people praise him so highly and think that he's just going to walk through a guy like Ian. But Ian himself is also undefeated. I mean, this guy has been perfect in the UFC so far, or almost perfect, and he's done really well when he needed to. His wins haven't been as flashy or as exciting as some of Shavkat's, but that's just the way it is, and sometimes you have to do what you have to do in order to get the job done. And if you compare these two resumes, to be honest, they have really similar looking ones. I mean, they both beat Jeff Neal and Neil Magny. Granted, Shavkat finished them and Ian didn't, but they both still beat them. And then they each beat Wonderboy and Michael Venom Page. So they've beaten two stand-up fighters. So their resumes are pretty similar and their best wins are very, very similar. People just praise Shavkat a lot higher because all of his were wins via finish. But this is going to be really interesting because Ian is very good at staying outside and picking apart his opponents. And Shavkat, I think Shavkat needs to get close in order to actually do proper damage on Ian. Shavkat's striking isn't bad at all whatsoever. I mean, he could definitely do damage to Ian on the feet, but he's going to probably look to get to the ground in this fight, especially if he has the prior knowledge that he was able to do so in training and was very successful once they got down there. But that's not going to be a very easy task because Ian's not going to let him get close. I mean, if he does, he'd be stupid to, and it'd be a massive mistake on his part. But that's easier said than done, especially in a 5-round fight. I mean, to have that focus for 25 minutes, to be able to just not make any mistakes and not allow Shavkat to get close, that's going to be damn near impossible. But with the striking talent that Ian does possess, I think that he will be able to do so pretty effectively. I think, of course, Shavkat is going to get his takedowns and he's going to be able to get in the clinch and do his damage. But I could see Ian controlling a lot of the tempo of this fight until he's not. Like, for example, I could totally see Ian taking the first 2 rounds off of Shavkat and then Shavkat easing himself a little bit more into the fight and potentially stealing the later rounds or even picking up a finish. And if there is a finish in this fight, it's definitely going to come from Shavkat. I don't see Ian finishing Shavkat. I'd be shocked unless he clipped him and just caught him, sat him down. Totally possible, but I think it's super unlikely. I think Ian's path to victory is staying on the outside, controlling the tempo of the fight, and taking him to the judges' scorecards. And what makes this fight so exciting for me is the fact that these are two guys that have not lost in their professional careers. I mean, someone zero is going to go, someone is going to get their first loss, and it's in a very high pressure, high level moment because this is essentially a #1 contenders fight. Whoever wins this is going to go on to fight the champion in Belal Muhammad. So it's a super high stakes matchup. There's history between the two fighters, and that's what makes this one so interesting. This fight, I think, is just going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. A lot of people are expecting Shavkat to go in there and run through him, and I don't blame you for thinking that, but at the same time, you can't look away from Garry's skills and what Ian can do in this fight to beat a guy like Shavkat. I think Ian will definitely give Shavkat his problems. He'll definitely crack him, definitely hit him back a bit, maybe cut him up, but ultimately, Shavkat will probably be the one who prevails in the end. My official prediction is going to be Shavkat Rakhmonov to win this one via decision. I think this is going to be the first time we see Shavkat go to the judges' scorecards in his entire career. It's going to be interesting, but I think that Ian's a tough guy to put away. And if Ian's stealing the first couple of rounds and Shavkat eases into the fight more, the only way I see Shavkat finishing him is if Ian gasses out in the 4th or 5th round and Shavkat is able to capitalize and potentially pick up a TKO victory. Otherwise, I do think Shavkat will win this fight. I think eventually he'll be able to figure Ian out a bit and he'll ultimately win this one on the judges' scorecards. But I'm telling you, do not sleep on Ian Garry. I definitely see a world where this guy could win this fight and piss a lot of people off, because you just know the MMA community would hate it if Ian went in there and beat a guy like Shavkat, especially if he was able to finish him somehow. So definitely don't overlook Ian in this fight, but at the same time, you can't also overlook Shavkat. The dude's elite, and I do see him being a champion in the very near future. Well, there you have it. Those are my thoughts on this co-main event at UFC 310. Let me know what you guys think, though. Do you have Shavkat? Do you have Ian? Who do you think's winning this fight? Let me know down below in the comments, and let me know how they win. Thank you all for watching this video. Be out on the lookout for more UFC 310 content as the week goes on, as there's just so many amazing fights on this card that I want to talk about and give you my opinion on. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.